if be paint back quiet and maybe a little bit quicker. Just trying to keep it on the low so my in-laws are able to rest, and my daughter in the room right next to me is also able to sleep. Corey, Rivalry week kind of came and went with a couple of big games, but mostly whimpers.
Yeah, it
That
was
was
like
my takeaway.
some games were close, but the teams that needed to win won, and they controlled their destiny. And like I enjoyed watching the Alabama Auburn game be close. I enjoyed watching. I'm just thinking like Georgia Tech Georgia be close, but I think the only upset you have really is Texas over A&M, and I mean they didn't make it look like much of an upset. They made it look like they deserved to win that game.
Yeah. I joked. So of course, we've got BYU uh, fandom both in my family and my in-laws, and I joked with my father-in-law. I was like, this would be the perfect time. We were in Florida at the time, so it's like a place where there's legalized sports betting. I was like, this is the happiness insurance parlay we should do. And I said like, hey, let's throw down, a parlay of Bama to win. Let's see. Hold on.
All the people that should win, Bama to win, Texas Tech to win.
Yeah, Bama to win, Texas Tech to win. Or Texas wasn't one of them. Sorry, Bama to win, not Texas to win. Gosh, I'm losing my mind here. Bama to win, Ole Miss, basically all Oklahoma. That's the other one. Oklahoma. Those are kind of the big ones, and then maybe throw down Oregon as well, because I think if Oregon would have lost, like a 10-2 Oregon losing at home to Indiana and on the road to Washington is at least in question.
That Oklahoma game was the other one that was close. I mean, Oklahoma scores with like 4 minutes left to take the lead, and they'd not been able to do it hardly all day.
Yeah, entertaining game, but yeah, I don't know if the under hit in that game, but it was probably not, because I think the over-under was at like 32 or something. Two great defenses and two pretty bad offenses, including one offense with a backup QB. So, but that was an entertaining one for sure. All right, yeah.
I mean, that under probably did hit. It's 30 points scored in the entire game.
Okay, I think it was like 31 or 32, so it must have just barely. Had to sweat that one out, but early in that game, you probably felt pretty good about the under. Yeah. So I don't know if there's like anything from the game specifically that you wanted to break down. Like
nothing specific. I mean, we're enough removed from those games. I feel like that the big things are what are the playoff implications? What are the coaching carousel changes? And because like there's not major playoff implications. It's like who do you have as your top 12? I think that's what it ends up being. And then who do you think is actually going to get in there? So
yeah. We were watching Texas A&M and Texas Friday night, and my father-in-law was kind of pulling for Texas, and I was like, as a BYU fan, this is not what you want. Like the second they win that game, the noise to put in a 9-3 Texas is going to crank up to 15 on a scale of 1 to 10.
Rooting for LSU was the number one thing that you could have rooted for as a BYU fan. But Oklahoma pulled it out, and against a terrible offense, was able to outscore them. So it works out for them.
Yeah, I don't remember who said this, but somebody, I think it may have been Bud Elliott, who said like Oklahoma's defense keeps them in every game. Oklahoma's offense I think Oklahoma's defense basically could win them at any game, makes any game winnable, and their offense makes any game losable. And I think you saw that on display. So they're an interesting one. I know that they will make the playoff. If I had to choose teams that I'm not sure they're, I don't know what the word is, worthy to play in the playoff or whatever, like that'd be one. But put it this way, like again, we're going to look at a lot of this through the lens of BYU because they're right on the outside looking in as far as an at-large bid goes. They do have an opportunity to win one. But it's like, who are the teams that if BYU faced in the playoff, I'd be like, okay, you got a shot. Oklahoma's right on, I think right at the very top of that list. Like, I mean, maybe not beneath like the ACC champion they'd be beneath the ACC champion and whatever G5 team gets in.
And then an Ole Miss team that doesn't have Lane Kiffin potentially.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah, and I think also BYU beats I think BYU hangs with Notre Dame, Miami, like I think those all would be possible.
Yeah, those would be winnable. There's a list of teams where it's like, okay, you're just not beating Georgia, you're just not beating Ohio State, and
Or
then add
Indiana,
or
probably.
Oregon to that. Indiana, I think you
I don't
match
know.
up okay with them. Like I
Yeah,
actually
I
think
think
that one.
Oregon, you have a chance because Oregon, up until last week, hadn't played an offense that had over 100 top 100 ranking pass offense
Mm-hmm.
the entire
True.
season. Like that's ridiculous. And especially if you get number 2 Chase Roberts back. So I'm
Well,
like going through and thinking like, what would my top if I was to rank the top 12? What my top 12 would be? I have OSU at number 1, Indiana at number 2, Oregon at number 3. I have Georgia at number 4, Texas Tech at number 5, BYU at 6, Ole Miss at 7. I think I'm A&M at 8, and then I'm probably based off of losses. I mean, Bama's lost to an unranked Florida State team. They played terrible in that game. I think I go Oklahoma, Notre Dame, Bama, and that I think rounds out my top 12. Is that right? No. No, that doesn't round out my top 12. And then I put probably Miami as my next one there. Like I don't have Utah up there. I don't have Vanderbilt up there. I mean, although Vanderbilt looked incredible again, I did not expect him to beat Tennessee, and they handled them pretty well. Diego Pavia watching a few more games of him in the playoffs would have been fun.
yeah, yeah. It's annoying to me that there has to be politicking for some of this, where it's just like, I don't know.
I think if you can set up a computerized system that incentivizes winning but also incentivizes playing good teams, because that I saw somebody say, it was like, oh, if Texas would have played or not have played Ohio State and only lost to Florida, and who's their other loss to? Is it Bama or Georgia or something like that? I think
Georgia.
it's Georgia. Yeah, if they only lost to Georgia and Florida State, they would be in the playoffs. I'm like, yeah, but you play Ohio State to erase. I think it was Bud Elliott that said that. It was like you play Ohio State to give you a chance to win, to erase a bad loss. And I think bad losses need to come back to bite you, and they're not right now. Like they're not coming back to bite Bama potentially. They're not coming back to bite. Actually, that's by far the worst loss, because you look at like Georgia's loss is to Bama head to head, right? Oregon's loss is to Indiana. Okay, Texas Tech's loss is to that's one that should probably hurt them. Arizona State.
Arizona State with your
I
backup
mean
QB, like
that's a what 9-3 team, so they're not bad.
8-4. Yeah, they ended
8-4.
up losing to Arizona.
That's right. Okay, and then you got Ole Miss. Their losses to Georgia. It's at Georgia. Yeah, and then you got Oklahoma with losses to those. That one might be a little bit interesting. Losses to Texas and Ole Miss. Texas is not a good loss right now, in my opinion. But then Notre Dame's losses are to A&M and Miami. Yeah, let's see.
I know.
Yeah, Bama and Texas Tech probably have the 2 worst losses, and I think you need to be a little bit punished for those.
Yeah, I agree with that part. I think the one thing I'd say that I don't necessarily agree with is like the strength of schedule thing. I think is just a kind of a ruse to funnel in as many P2 teams as possible. So, and to me, I hate that there's a component of it where it's like, oh, this may have been decided by an athletic director that's no longer at that school from 10 years ago. I think that's kind of stupid. So, I do think it should matter to a degree, but it should be pretty low on the totem pole. But again, the
I
power
do understand, like,
brokers are making it, putting the thumb
I
on the
think
scale
you
for
need
it.
to have a weight of strength of record versus strength of schedule, because if you do schedule cupcakes, like you are 12-0, right, at the end of the season, and that's an issue, because your strength of record is going to be perfect because you still went undefeated, but you do need to balance that strength of schedule to some degree, I think. But I think you need a formula that shows us that we value big wins, but we also value winning at the same time. So, and you're not going to be as punished by going up against someone as good, potentially.
Yeah.
And I also don't feel like they should be like a calculation that's valued at the time. It's like, oh, we thought we knew what we knew about this team. Like, we didn't know about this team. We had 3 data points about this team when you guys went head to head. We have a lot more data points now, and those need to be back. I think they should be back valued to some degree.
Yeah, if you could
I don't know.
factor out injuries is the only part with that, but I agree.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's true. I don't know.
anyway, it's politicking season. I don't know
Yep, and it
really what
feels
to
very
make
much
of.
that way.
Yeah,
So,
I thought the playoff was the whole thing was trying to resolve this, and it's just like, oh, now we're arguing over whether a 9-3 team deserves to be in, and whether
and
that's a
I think
disservice
this
to the
goes
sport.
away if you had auto bids and you said, all right, we're going to put. If you get 2 super conferences and you say, all right, the top 6 of your conference and the top 6 of your conferences, or you take the first, and each conference is like splits into 4 divisions. It's like, all right, take the 4 winners of your division, the 4 winners of your division, and then the top 2. I mean, that's essentially how the NFL does it, right?
Yeah. Maybe something like that works, and it's probably more plausible than what I would want. I would want just like, hey, the top 6 conference champions go 2 at-large bids. If you don't like where you're at, go join a different conference. That would balance out the power. It would never happen, but that would be
Yeah, that'd
if
be
I could
interesting.
wave a magic wand, that's what I would do.
I think the conferences would do that in a sense with the divisions. They would balance it out so that they can have the best teams that they think have a chance.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, going on. That being said, we move into championship week, and championship week's gonna be fun. Watching North Texas and Tulane. Is North Texas's coach staying?
Yeah, both of those are
So okay,
sticking
sweet.
around.
Yeah, I knew Summerall was, but yeah. Okay, so that'll be a fun matchup to watch. I feel like North Texas has done really well in pretty much dominating opponents. I'm checking out that, make sure I'm not a liar. Yeah, they've won games by an
Outside
average
of
of 25 points.
outside of the one loss where
Yeah,
the wheels came off against South Florida.
but then you look at Tulane, and I feel like they've been winning by the skin of their teeth. It's like against East Carolina, it's 26-19, Army 24-17, Memphis 38-32, FAU 35-24. Like these are much closer wins. And then the loss against UTSA.
Ole Miss. Oh, UTSA, that one too. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about in conference. Yeah, but I mean, I do think North Texas should be favored to win that, and I think it'll be a fun game to watch. And then you get into all the other
really
ones.
exciting to see what John Summerall's defense does against that North Texas Mean Green attack. Fascinated to see how that side of the ball plays out. And then it's really just like, okay, does the Jake Retzloff that throws 2 interceptions in a half show up, or is it the one that takes care of the football? Like, yeah, it'll be a fun little preview fun little intro for the rest of the week.
Yeah. What's he's thrown 6 interceptions this year? Pulling it up. And only 14 touchdowns? That seems low.
He's been running them in more than throwing them. I think if you look at his stats,
14 rushing touchdowns. Yikes.
Yeah. It's a big part of his game, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to see that one. Winners almost assuredly in the playoff, and yeah, who knows? Depending on the matchup, they could make some noise, right? Like,
oh, for sure. Yeah, like we have a chance. There's a reason these Cinderella teams should be included, in my opinion, because you never know. I mean, FAMU lost to Mississippi Valley State University, a D2 school.
Yeah,
like, and they're D1. Like, you never know. Like, Florida State's lost to back in the day, Jacksonville State. You have Appalachian State beating Michigan. These things do happen, and so, but yeah, moving on.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and pick the game. I think I like North Texas to win it. Be a close game, though. I think it'll be a close game.
Yeah, I definitely think North Texas wins. I think North Texas covers too. So
I don't have odds
they
in front of
by
me.
2.5, 3.
Is that right?
Pulling it up right now. Favored by 2.5. Yeah, and we're not even talking James Madison and Troy and Jacksonville State and Kennesaw State, or even the Mountain West right now. Like,
Can
the
we
Mountain
just
West is kind of falling out.
Yeah, real quick, let's talk about Kennesaw State. Just hooty hoo, like that's their little call because they're the Owls. Yeah, so I'm happy for the program. I'm a little their head coach from last year, first year, transitions them to FBS football from FCS, and they were a good FCS team. I think they went 2-10 last year. Like, transition year, they fire him. I think he had won a national championship with them.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that the program's bouncing back. I still feel like that coach probably would have done a lot of what's been done here. It just took him a year to adapt to a new level of football. So, but yeah, in year 2, playing for a conference championship, that doesn't suck. Way to go,
No, not at all.
fighting owls.
Reminds me of Jacksonville State when they moved up too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
sorry, I just wanted to touch on that real quick.
No, I do. I think it's great. We all think James Madison's going to destroy Troy, but do we believe that they actually have a chance to get in? Well, only if Duke doesn't make the
I want
playoffs.
them to. Like, yeah, I want them to. Like, yeah, I think the recipe for it is Duke has to win the.
Yeah.
Duke has to win the ACC, and then for that,
there's a couple other things that have to happen, but you have to end up. Yeah. They have to end up somewhat ranked, and that'd be insane. You want to jump into? Do you care about the Mountain West? I get you have UNLV that's 10-2, but not given the respect that they deserve, to be honest. On some of that.
Remind me who they're even playing. Is it San Diego State?
Or Boise State.
Boise. Okay.
But it's also they lost to Boise. They got routed by Boise earlier this year. So.
And is that one's played at a neutral field, or is it played at the?
It's played.
I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I think it's played.
I'm working on just a laptop. So
it's played at Albertsons.
Okay,
Stadium.
So Boise will play it at home. Yeah, I mean, I'll tune in and pay attention to it, but I don't know if I have any sage wisdom on what to expect from that game.
No. I mean, it'll be a fun Friday night, and then in anticipation for the real games on Saturday.
Yeah.
Speaking of the real games on Saturday, the first one is the BYU Texas Tech game.
Big game.
The spread is 12.5 right now is what I think I'm seeing.
I think it's moved to 13.5.
I'm seeing 12.5 right now on DraftKings.
Okay, so maybe it came back down a little bit.
What was the spread in the original game?
I think.
Oh, that's right. It was 10, and I think this is accurate. I mean, I think BYU can hang, but they've got to find ways to make the offensive go and you run the ball. If you cannot figure it out to find ways to do that, you're going to get routed. Like, you got beat, 28-7 or something like that? Or 28-10?
29-7.
Yeah. And that was not indicative of how badly you got beat. And that could significantly blow up. I understand that you bowed up on fourth downs, and that's been BYU's MO in games. Like, they did the same thing against Utah, and that's the reason they won those games. They played well in critical downs. But that could have just as easily been 40-7.
That's true. If some of those drives that ended in field goals were touchdowns, that part is true. I think, it's a couple things. You're right. You got to run the football, which good news on that front. I don't know if you saw Sione Moa, their second string running back, is back for this week. Again, how much can you expect from him? He's been out for, I think, 9 weeks or 10 weeks in a row now. So I don't know how much stock to put in that, but you've got another really capable back. Just what kind of condition is he prepared to really go in his first game back? I don't know. The other thing I think that I think BYU, and I think they even said as much in post game press conferences and things like that, where basically man, we didn't really give ourselves a whole lot of opportunities with some of the drops early in that game. So it's all right, maybe that changes the complexion of the game
as well. And I feel like that this team is not going to let themselves get punched in the mouth as much. So they're going to we got out physical. We're going to go out and
if nothing else, it won't be a mystery of what you're dealing with because you've been able to see it before. So
Erin's going to the game. I don't know if you heard that.
Oh no! Awesome, cool.
I talked to her today, and she's like, "I'm stoked." I'm like, "That's cool.
That'll be awesome."
Because I think it's in Arlington, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. All right, but who do you have winning that game?
I mean, it's hard to erase that, and I know we haven't even talked about the drama of this week with the head coach. I feel like that's we'll talk through that in just a little bit, but it's the worst possible week to be like, oh, is our head coach leaving? When you have this win and you're in, and if you lose, I don't know if there's any way you get in, even if you lose a super close game in triple overtime.
I don't think there's any way that you get in.
No, let me clarify. I think they should be in, kind of no matter what. But I don't think they will. So
I do feel like you have the benefit of the fact that you have some older players that have been through some circumstances, because you have like players that have been on missions and stuff like that, and you've had some hardships that those sometimes you're able to have a little bit more experience of putting something out of your mind and the distraction out of your way. And I feel like this team has done that pretty well. Like you go into Utah, knowing that Utah is expected to beat you, and the team puts the distraction kind of out of their mind, and it never looked like Utah was in that game to some degree. Like I feel like those kind of things are that this team has a good mentality to that the Sadaki talk probably doesn't bother this team as much.
Yeah, let's hope so. Yeah, because I think that's really kind of what it boils down to: is can you clean up some of the mistakes that were self-inflicted in that game? Can you have, a slightly better showing from your offense and your special teams, which maybe didn't quite do you any favors? I think, if memory serves me right, they missed a field goal or two. They had a couple of other miscues, I think, on special teams that prevented the game from potentially being a little bit closer. I don't know. I think Texas Tech's going to win this game. I think the only thing that, and it's always something you have to kind of keep in mind with Texas Tech, is that that quarterback gets injured quite a bit. If he misses any time, the backup is out for the year. So it would be a third string, and then things get interesting. So can you get after him? Again, your new pass rushers, I don't know if they'd come online quite at that point in the season just yet.
Yeah, it was starting to kind of hit.
I think they're just starting to get introduced,
Yeah.
and and in that game, I don't know if they did a whole lot of earning the right to rush the passer. Right, there was like
they did have
Texas Tech was on schedule quite a bit.
Yeah, you did have the fact that like BYU had 4 sacks in the first half.
That's right. Okay, that's right.
But yeah, and the game was close. I mean, you were 19-0, going into the fourth quarter, but like that's close for a Texas Tech game. Normally they're up 40 to 7 at half. You just could not do anything on the offensive board, and like you ran for 2.5 yards a carry. Like that has to change.
Yeah.
I mean, you ran 27 times for 67 yards. That is rough. And then on top of that, you lost the turnover battle, exceptionally. So, like, I can go back to the games that I feel like BYU's lost a turnover battle. I think this is the only one. So if you can even up the turnovers and put yourself in positions, like you said, clean up some pieces, maybe you get it close. I think here's hoping. That's the only thing we can do is hope.
Yeah, that's exactly. It's like all these things give you a chance. Yes,
But
for
if you had
purposes,
said gun to my head, who wins?
Texas Tech.
Yeah.
Guns out.
Literally guns in my head. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. All right. What game is next on the slate? Sorry, I don't have any of this in front of me. I only have a
Georgia,
laptop,
Alabama.
so I don't have any.
I'm skipping Western Michigan, Miami. Georgia, Alabama is also, I think, early on in that morning.
First of all, Western Michigan's going to win that game. So that's all I have to say about that.
Does anyone care? Yeah, you have Georgia, Alabama at the 4:00 Eastern time schedule, and that it's going to be a fun game. We got a rematch of a previous game. I can't imagine who's going to win that one off the top of my head. Bama won their first head-to-head, right?
Yes. DeBoer is, I think, still 7-0 against Sarkisian, Dan Lanning, and Kirby Smart, or something absurd like that.
I mean, it was 24-21. Nobody scored in the fourth quarter. This will be fun to see what things change and what things that are better. I might have to go watch the last game just right before this to see it again, and because this is as much as I like. My favorite games last year were the Texas Georgia games. Like you had the previous Texas Georgia game, and then you had it. Like I'm all for these play it again games. Like they're fun to watch, and I will enjoy this one just as much. This will be probably one of my favorite games to watch of the year. So
yeah, it's especially just like how does the next game play out? What does the team that lost do differently to try and change things up? I'll bite. Give me Georgia. I think Georgia wins this one. I feel like Georgia's peaking at the right time.
Yeah, I have a hard time going against is the quarterback Stockton. He just like has the timeliest plays, when they need him, he plays well. Well, it's not until they need him that he plays super well, but like when the game is on the line, he's incredible. And I think Simpson struggled a little bit last week, so I'm interested to see if that kind of sits in his head a little bit against Auburn. So I do love watching him take off on a run, though. He sometimes just moves like slow, methodically, but like can dodge player after player after player. I remember he did it against Florida State. He did it against Auburn for a first down in that game.
His
Was
running
critical.
style to me, just like I can only describe it as a gallop. It's just like kind of this like his legs don't even necessarily look like they're moving that quickly, but it's like, oh no, he's leaving that defensive end in the dust. Like,
Yeah.
So
Well, even like he's slippery when you wouldn't expect him to be slippery.
Mm-hmm. So
not quick, not super fast. I mean, he's not slow by any means, but not super fast, but just slick. Yeah. If I'm gun to my head, I think I'm probably going DeBoer just because I trust that guy.
It's hard to go against the track record. That's the thing. Yeah. I'm calling for him to lose a game that he just never loses. So
yeah, and I think if he wins this game, like that sets him up for a 3 seed or a 2 seed, probably a 3 seed, and like everybody's gonna be super excited for like, oh, this is he's coming into his own. He's doing what he needs to do to give us a chance, and look out for Bama roaring into the playoffs. So, do you want anything else before we move on?
No, I haven't had time to like sit down and like look at like to give any more of a breakdown. Rewatching the previous one I think would be interesting, and looking at this game through the lens of that one will be. Yeah, I mean, I guess DeBoer came out firing in the first half. They didn't score in the entire second half this last go around, right?
I think Bama scored in the third quarter, but
that's right. But he's been relatively silent in second halves against Kirby Smart both years now. So it's can Bama race out to a lead and then hold on for dear life? So we'll see.
Yeah, Kirby makes some good adjustments during the game and finds what works. All right, moving to our 8 o'clock games. Indiana, Ohio State, and Duke and Virginia. First off, I'll talk about the Indiana, Ohio State game.
Who do you think, which of those games do you think people are tuning into? Like,
definitely the Duke and Virginia. If Duke is winning and that other game is a blowout, then people will tune into the ACC championship like, wait, what's going on? The ACC is a mess.
Yes.
Which, honestly, in reality, Duke can win this game. Like, they can win this game.
Yeah, but they were favored in the first game. I mean, yeah. Virginia kind of punked them, but
yeah,
they can win it.
But that was also, wasn't that early on in the year too? No, that was like 3 weeks ago.
Midway through the year, yeah.
It's only 3 weeks ago. So these guys are seeing each other quickly right after playing each other. Yeah. We'll see what happens on that one. I really don't really care. I do think it's funny that Manny Diaz has now made a ACC championship before Mario Cristobal has. And
for that reason, I want him to win it. I feel bad that he sort of played himself out of coaching jobs this year.
Yeah, he did a little bit. It feels like
just two more victories. 2 more victories this year, and he could have got whatever job he wanted. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think he would have been up for the Penn State job.
Yeah.
And
yes.
But then Indiana, Ohio State, this game doesn't hold as much intrigue for me because I fear that neither team is going to take it seriously.
Oh my gosh, you're taking the words right out of my mouth. I'm like, I don't think either one of these teams, like, they may just like wink and nod to each other and be like, hey, we're just going to run out the clock here until like the last 2 possessions of the fourth quarter, and then we'll see who wins it. Yeah. I don't know.
Like, what's the incentive to win this Big Ten championship? Maybe a small buyout for the actual team, but not for the players themselves, right? There's probably incentive if you win, but
yeah,
like, I'm not showing my hand against a team I might run into later on.
Definitely
in the playoffs.
No, I agree.
And so it's like, all right, although I think there's something to say about momentum and also the pride of some of these players. I don't think Ryan Day would take well to losing, and I don't think Cignetti would take well to losing. And that's the other
thing. Definitely not Cignetti. That's true.
That's where it's like, will they take it seriously and play and be like, screw it, we're going to win this game. We'll worry about adjustments later. And we just want to
Maybe,
show that we are.
maybe, maybe the thought process is like maybe we can put something on tape against them that other teams in the playoff can use. Like we can highlight this weakness that they have that someone
Yeah.
else may be able to knock them out. Like,
I also feel like
I don't know.
Indiana might have something to prove. Like, listen, we are 12-0. We really haven't played too many people. We played Oregon. That's about it. Let's make another statement here. Like, we are here to be a part of the big of the top of the top. And I mean, they played phenomenal all year, but when you play the big dogs, you got to win against the big dogs. And we've seen what teams do that don't. You know, they fire their coach and then can't find a coach after that. So
good call. That was well done. Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Like, it'd be interesting to see. Like, of course, you know, when it's time to like buckle up the chin strap, I think players are going to play for pride. But it'd be interesting, like how much of the coaches may hold some play calls, you know,
yeah,
hold them back or not. I don't know. I really don't know what to make of it.
yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna guess that Ohio State's favored by 6.5, so I'll pick Ohio State to win. I guess we didn't pick the Duke Virginia game. I'm going for chaos, Blue Devils.
Yeah, give me Virginia. That Virginia team has won a ton of games by the skin of their teeth, and I think they continue to do that.
They might.
And that's a 3.5 point game, by the way. And then Indiana, Ohio State's 4.5.
4.5. Okay, it's closer than I thought.
I'm interested. I like. What does it say if Signetty wins? I think it makes a huge statement. I think it shows. I mean, does it rolls all the way back to Ryan Day can't win a big game? Probably not because he won a championship. But like, and you finally beat Michigan.
No, but lose that Big Ten game and then get bounced in the playoff and see what happens.
Yeah, exactly. If you lose that and then you get bounced or you would be in the first round. Oh, you still probably be in the second round. But if you get bounced in the second round, we saw what happened last year. Every team that played in the first round did really, really well in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what happens. I don't know. It could be an issue. Like we could see a quick turn on fans if Ryan Day doesn't go to the championship or doesn't look okay in these two games. So I mean, you got Julian saying the freshman who's played well in all his games, but is the moment too big? Maybe, I don't know. Who knows? He didn't look particularly strong early on against Michigan, and then lit them up afterwards. So it's maybe that was got the jitters out, and he's like, "All right, I'm ready to take on big games. It's not a big deal."
Yeah, it'll be a much more pro Ohio State crowd too. Like,
yeah, where's it at? It's at
Indianapolis, right? Is it at the Colts?
Yeah, Lucas Oil Stadium. Yeah. So we'll see how it goes. I'm excited. Give me Indiana to upset them.
Interesting.
I think the pride of Signetty is gonna pull out all the stops.
I don't disagree with that.
Although, if you flash back, now that I'm thinking about it, if you flash back to last year, Indiana's offensive line could not hold up against Ohio State's defensive line. You don't have the same players involved.
I think they're better this year. I think they're better equipped for it. But yeah, that was where I was going. You're definitely right. The competitive fire of Signetti is pretty undeniable. So anything that they, you know, he's a
like I could see them.
He's a winner. But
yeah, I could see them be like, we're going all out for block punts and stuff like that. Like we're gonna find plays and times to win the field battle to put us in a position to be successful.
The second you brought that up, I'm like, yeah, that's true. So maybe I shouldn't need to worry about Indiana's motivation. Like,
I don't know.
But yeah, I still am going to pick Ohio State. But yes, I do think it's a closer game than when these two met on the field last year.
Yeah, for sure. Indiana got boat raced. All right, that covers the week. Now, you want to just talk about quick coaching carousel at all?
Yeah, let's do it.
Do we start with the hoe? I'm just kidding.
Well, maybe we'll timestamp this. We are recording this as of right now. It is 12:18 a.m. Eastern time on December 2nd. So yeah, I know it's still December 1st for you.
Yep.
But just to timestamp when this is all going down, yes, Kiffin to LSU, and yeah, he called that out, right? Called that out. Like, I think he just got in his feelings about that. He's like, he knew.
Well, I found another thing from that same reporter. He reports later, or he has a podcast. So I went and found the podcast, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Kiffin actually called me later that day and apologized, like individually." I was like, "Oh, that's interesting." Like
Yeah, but you don't treat a reporter like that if you're sticking around, right? Like,
I think Kiffin kind of does that whatever he wants. He just it's kind
I
of how he
know,
is
but I'm
always.
just
So
like, to me,
yeah,
I was like, oh, I think that might be it.
I
Uh,
I don't blame Kiffin for going and getting a bag. Was he making 13 million a year? Um, like that's awesome. And then LSU's going to pay out whatever Ole Miss does in the playoffs, the bonuses that was already involved into his contract. Um, that that's an awesome incentive. And you have a I think it's what $78 million buyout right now. Is that what it is off the top of my head? Um, like
yeah,
I thought maybe Kiffin had changed, that he was going to stay at Ole Miss. I think that's what I said earlier. Like I think he stays at Ole Miss. I think he leverages. If Ole Miss wasn't willing to match it, which it doesn't seem like they would have. I mean, I think if Ole Miss would have matched, and I don't have any insight, right? Like I think I could see him staying at Ole Miss because he's passing up on a potential for a championship and a potential for whatever it is, or like he had opportunities that he already has to rebuild and get there. And I'll be honest, I don't think he ever wins at LSU a national title. Now, do I think he gets into the playoffs? Yeah, I think he gets in the playoffs. I don't see that guy failing to be competitive, but I don't see him being significantly better than he was at Ole Miss the last 2 years.
tend to agree with that last statement. They might still win a national championship, right? You just get enough at bats at some point, you might win one, right? But I tend to agree. Like he's never been like a killer recruiter. Like he's always
Yeah,
won and sort of beat you with whatever pieces he has. He schemes up stuff that will win. You know, I mean, he's been on places where they recruit like gangbusters, but at Ole Miss, he's been there for some time now, and they've had a handful of really good wins. But even then, lots of those wins are like, okay, like when Quinshon Judkins, they just early evaled him and prioritized him. It wasn't like he was a 5-star ballyhooed recruit that everyone knew. He kind of flew under the radar. I think Bama and Auburn got in late on him, but Ole Miss was able to hang on to him because I think he's from Alabama at first.
isn't that the transfer from? You're talking about transfer when he transferred from Ohio State? Is that what you're saying?
Right. Well, no, he was at Ole Miss and transferred to Ohio State. So,
Okay. Yeah.
but
Okay.
like that was like one like significant recruiting win. Of course, they did a better job with like in-state talent at Mississippi, like Center and Perkins. I think is an NFL linebacker and a 5-star. Like that one's one that's a big win for them.
Yeah.
Whereas like it was pretty apparent from early on that guy was a superstar recruit. So that's the
I
part that I'm
also could
thinking
see.
through.
I don't think Kiffin's a superstar recruiter, but I do think he's more relatable to a Southern boy than Brian Kelly was, and I think there's a chance he holds a lot
Without a
more
doubt.
talent.
Without a
I
doubt.
mean, he might have to fake his accent too, but like I do think like you hold more LSU Louisiana talent, and I mean if you look at the NFL and you look at like the top 15 receivers, I think 5 of them are from like a 20-mile radius around Baton Rouge area and New Orleans area or something like that. It's insane. There's a lot of talent there, and he could do well with it, but it's just a matter of like, do your defenses hit well? Because like you look at LSU last year and the year before, like you had Jaden Daniels there. You couldn't win without a defense. Now retaining this defensive coordinator is going to put you in a position to be
Is
a
that
lot more
official? I
successful.
know they talked
I don't
about
think it's
that, but
official, but I think it's more than likely.
okay. Yeah,
Um,
that to
but
me is good news for them. For if
yeah,
you're an
good hire.
Tiger fan,
Do I think it's the best hire out of everybody else? I'm not. I'll leave that out to the end, but I'll tell you what my thoughts are on that. But I
yeah,
think it's
okay.
like if LSU got who they wanted, and they are willing to pay a bag just to have a chance at having a good coach. And but the thing is, like, this isn't a Kalen DeBoer, this isn't a Nick Saban, this isn't a. Who's I think was it Joe Platt or Joe? Is it Platt? Was
Yeah,
saying
Joel Platt.
um like he was the only coach that was like not putting his hand down, the best rated coach. It wasn't a Sarkisian, it wasn't a you're like you couldn't go get the top of the top, but you could go get the next level. And he said that next level. I don't think he's a Marcus Freeman yet. People that have actually competed for championships, but he can be. We'll just have to wait and see. So
Yeah, I was talking to the one thing I'd say in that where like, again, my father and I have been talking a lot of ball the last week. It's been great. He's like, "Do you think Kiffin goes?" And I was like, "I mean, if you want to win national championships, you probably want to go to a place that are willing to steal from children's hospitals to fund their football program, right?" Like, I was like, that's how committed they are, and like the principled people in Oxford, Mississippi, probably aren't quite that committed, and so. Yeah, I was just like, there's been multiple scandals promoting collegiate athletics within the state of Louisiana, so it's like, hey, you don't have to question their commitment to it. They're about it, so I get it from that angle, if nothing else.
And is he following in the footsteps of Ed Orgeron again?
What do you mean?
Like, wasn't Orgeron a coach at Ole Miss?
Oh, yeah, he
Did he coach over
was.
at USC as well? I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean they've been they've crossed paths a number of times. Orgeron was also on his staff when he was the 1 year he was at Tennessee. Followed him over to USC.
Followed him at USC. He was the interim head coach when he got fired on the tarmac.
Yeah.
So now, yeah, it's just kind of funny. Like Orgeron's at Ole Miss, and then now when he's going to Ole Miss, Orgeron goes to LSU. Now he's at LSU.
It wouldn't stun me if they brought Coach O back as some sort of analyst or something like that.
Oh, he said the first call he made once he landed in LSU was like to Coach O. That's what I heard. Through my sources of Twitter, etc.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, other coaches that are interesting that are landed jobs.
With that, what week's better watch his girl. with Coach O. Anyway, that's all I'll say on that. We'll move on.
What was the next kid? Yeah, we're not going to go there, dude.
What was did you see some of what went down when he was head coach there?
I know that there was stuff that went down afterwards. I don't know about
I'm just saying, he was there. A handful of pictures of him with some very young blondes. That was like,
yeah, but don't you think Kiffin would kill him?
I don't know. I just that's why I said I'd say it and leave it.
I couldn't leave it. I was like, it's too enticing.
Okay. Next ones. Which ones do you want to go to next?
Let's go to Auburn.
Alex Golesh.
I absolutely love this hire.
Yeah, he'll be a thorn in the side of Alabama.
He's got an underdog mentality that fits Auburn, and a desire to prove himself, and that's what you need in someone that's going to give them a chance. Someone that's going to outwork, out hustle, and put their recruiting at the next level. I don't think he's a phenomenal recruiter, but I do think he's a good recruiter. And I think I think what he is he's as close to a Mario Cristobal as you're going to find, in the fact that he's going to work hard and recruit as much as he can all the time to put himself in a position to be successful.
Yeah, I think he knows kind of how the game is played, and I mean, look what he was doing with USF. I feel like they were recruiting like gangbusters for their level, right?
Yeah,
it's like at some point you run into that ceiling.
You were recruiting also against Florida, Miami, and Florida State. Granted, however those teams are, and this is the exact same thing. Like, you're recruiting against a better team, a better powerhouse, but he was able to beat Florida and put himself in a position. I think if you ran that game back against Miami, that would be probably a little bit more of a close game. They got beat a little bit worse.
Bama the year before that, they should have won that game.
Well. Yeah, so it's. I think this is a home run hire for them. So
yes, I am very intrigued to see if they can keep Deuce Knight around. I don't know if they're able to keep him. That would be.
Why not? Where's Deuce Knight go?
Sorry, what?
Where's he gonna go?
I don't know. I just the portal could go in, or I'm just saying that type of athleticism in Alex Golesh's system is fascinating to me. He's got to improve as a passer, but he's been dealing with Byron Brown, who's not a great passer either, and he's gotten great results from Byron Brown. Yeah. Just if he sticks around, things get interesting. I think sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I agree with you. But I think that he puts them in the mix to compete at least a Tennessee, current LSU level, if not higher. Like, you're not going to be the lowest of the low. You're like, Auburn's been a little bit of a joke lately, and you'll be a 7-5,
8-4 to 10-2.
Yeah, exactly.
somewhere in that neighborhood, right? On the right year
Yeah.
with the right group of guys, you can be in that 10-2 level, be in the playoff, and you're a dangerous team probably in that
Yeah.
playoff.
I would say like, yeah, I think 7-5 maybe to start fine, but like in where you will end up consistently, I think that is right. 8-4 to 10-2. Yeah. You want to go to Florida?
Yeah. John Summerall, I saw some tweets out there where it was comparing what Billy Napier did in the Sun Belt versus what John Summerall
Yeah.
did, and they were like the exact same. I tell you, to me, this hire feels a lot different. I think they got the
He
right one.
scares me.
Yep.
Yeah, he scares me a lot.
And I thought Billy Napier had a chance to do that too, but I wasn't like quaking in my boots from the second he was hired. This one's like, this one's going to be a problem, I think, as an
Well,
FSU
also
fan.
the fact that you have a dead coach sitting at your watch,
Well,
like
yeah, I mean,
with
we got
Florida
get
State.
our own house in order before you can really like look around the neighborhoods and
I'm saying that's
see
the
what's
main
going
reason.
on.
Like he's going to get himself established in 2 weeks, and if he keeps DJ Lagway, can he fix DJ Lagway? Because DJ Lagway's not terrible when he's like he reminds me a lot of DJ Uyungale. Like he had all the ability and the power, but like couldn't produce at that level that was expected of him. And like, I mean, apparently he's doing okay in the NFL. He's still on a team. I think a scout team for the Chargers,
Yeah,
maybe.
practice squad. Yeah,
Yeah, but like, can you unleash DJ as well? I don't know. We'll see. And if they do, that's a scary thought.
yeah. I'm interested. I need to see his hires too, like
Yeah,
what that staff looks like before I judge. And that kind of goes for all of these, where it's like, oh, I want to see exactly what the staff looks like around him
they've already
before
hired a
we.
GM, right?
Yes.
Which I'm honestly that one I'm not as impressed with it. I mean, you're looking at the Jacksonville Jaguars GM. I think a former Jaguars GM. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Dave Caldwell. Helped manage the Eagles winning roster back in the day. We'll see. Yeah, he spent 8 years as general manager for the Jaguars, and then various personnel across other teams. I feel like general managers are not overly figured out helpful right now. I wouldn't say like there's like, oh, that's a general manager. I'm like, oh, I want him on my team. I can't even think of one that I'm like, oh, he's got it solidly organized, and it's a great identifier of talent and helps coordinate everything super well through the portal. But
Oklahoma's Matt Nagy, or however you say his last name, maybe the one I might throw in there, who used to run the Senior Bowl, but that's
yeah. That's possible.
There's maybe one or two.
So yeah, I'm interested to see who he hires and who he keeps in mind, and then also I haven't watched as much of their games as much as John Summerall's games at Tulane with them, and I wonder like one of the things that with Napier that was evidence from the get go was and I think you see it with even Florida State right now. It's like the disorganization penalties, your false starts, your too many men on the field, your stupid penalties that you can control that put you in a position like, oh, it was 3rd and 2, now it's 3rd and 7. Like that was what doomed Napier a lot, and I feel like I want to see how that organization shapes up, and is he able to straighten it up? Because I'd get rid of a lot of people and straighten it up as much as I can, to be frank.
The other thing I'd say for John Summerall taking over a Tulane program that was kind of at the peak, right? Like you inherited it from Willie Fritz. Like,
Yeah.
how much did he improve it? How much did he just sort of coast off that? Now Troy, on the other hand, he built from the ground up, right? Like, so he's capable of doing it, at least at some level of football. So that'd be the one thing where there's a couple times where it's like, hey, you've had this team sort of overmatched. I wonder how many times he's lost as a favorite, because I feel like, and this is me going off my memory, but I feel like there's been a handful of those times where it's like you are expected to win this game and you're not winning it, or
Mm-hmm.
you're struggling in this game when you're maybe a 2 or 3 score favorite at Tulane. So I'm just curious to see if that ends up following him. But again, like I said from the outset, I think Florida probably got this one right. I think they end up maybe even being, well, again, that's kind of a bigger picture, but like it's funny because LSU and Florida have opened up in the same year. The last 2 different times they both
Mm-hmm.
hired coaches. This last time felt like they both lost, and this
Mm-hmm.
year we're going to find out again. UF went all in on Napier and didn't, Napier was a G5 coach in the state of Louisiana. LSU wasn't particularly interested in this case. they're both
LSU though
interested
has a
in
little bit of a
Kiffin.
pride in the fact that like we're gonna take somebody big. We want a big name. Like they like getting big names. Brian Kelly. They want to go get Lane Kiffin. They want to take somebody from somebody else, and Florida couldn't to some degree.
Yeah, yeah. But I don't know. It's just interesting to see, like, okay, which one of them ends up hiring someone that who wins, right, this round? Because last time it felt like they both lost. So we'll see if it's different this go around.
Yeah, and honestly, if you talk Florida State, like Florida State extending Norvell, not ideal. But like if you fired him, who would you end up with? Would you ended up with Ryan Silverfield, the same another Memphis coach? Like I don't think you would have ended up in a better position than you might have right now. Like I mean, you would have started the rebuild a little bit earlier, but
Yeah,
you
I
might have.
mean, again, like I don't know what conversations happen betting around James Franklin, because again, I think Virginia Tech, you're already seeing dividends
Yeah,
on the recruiting trail.
you are. You
So,
are.
um, exciting for that program. We already kind of touched on that, so I don't want
Yeah.
to talk about that too much. But like, so that would have been one that I'd be interested. I wonder if Alex Golesh would have considered Florida State over Auburn potentially. I don't know that, but I'm just that
I think I
there
would have
may
loved
be
that
some.
higher. That would
Yeah.
have been the best hire that you
Um,
could have done.
Beyond that, you're right. Like it's like okay, or I mean, I would even be interested in like a Bob Chesney. Like, hey, he's a winner.
Yeah.
Like, and that's what you need. You need a winner. You need a winner right now. Someone who can win 10 games in the ACC. And that doesn't feel like that's a crazy high bar to ask. Like at Florida State to win 10 games in the in the ACC right now. The ACC being what it
You know
currently
what? I'd
is.
take 8 right
That's
now.
I know, and that's the thing. Is like the bar is getting lower. Like the number of wins required, and frankly, I think the wins are easier to acquire now than they have been in some time. Now, again,
Yeah, I mean,
ask
you got
ask ask me in 2 years if James Franklin's got Virginia Tech turned around, if Georgia Tech continues to kind of level up with like they
well, you
seem
have
to be
you have
doing.
Clemson that's completely dipped. Miami's stepped up, but other than that, who else is like SMU? But SMU looks beatable almost every week, too. So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah. It's
the
to me right now. Yeah, that upper tier is like Georgia Tech,
yeah.
Georgia Tech, potentially Virginia Tech with James Franklin, Miami, of course, and then it's still it's kind of a wide
Like
open
you take
race.
any
So
one of
like
those teams and stick them in the SEC, and they're going 8-4 at most, like on
I
average.
think they're going lower. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that's the thing is like there may have been something that you could have done. But again, like all right, you've kicked the can down the road. I'm kind of at peace with it at this point. Like maybe it pays off because again, I don't have any faith that this turns around under Norvell at this point. Like
So
I don't.
my thought process
But
is the only
next
reason you do
year you
this.
can get out in front of that.
Yeah, the only reason I feel like you do this is because either A, you think he really is a great coach, and you think there are just things that he's missed and not done well on, and you think he can fix them, and you see the potential, and you're just like, oh, we just got to bring it out. Or B, you need to save some money. Like those are the only things I can think of.
To me, it almost has to be B. Like it
And
almost
like, so
certainly is.
I have a friend that was a salesman at a company. I'll out this person, I
Yeah,
guess.
don't out them.
And they got put on a PIP, like as a salesman at this big company that is known for rolling through people. And that changed that person's world. Like fast forward 10 years, that person was a VP of sales for another company and a founder for another company. Like, and all, like you got put on a PIP,
Yeah,
and this is what feels like what he's doing. It's like you're being put on a PIP. This is your last chance. Now you got to do some stuff. You got to change some people. You got to fire people and get new people in. I don't think the Malzahn experiment gets you to where you need to go. I think it like gets you to even. We saw it. Like, yeah, you can have a top 15 ranked offense that can't put any points on the board, but I don't think it
yeah.
gets you to where you need to go and have the potential where you go. There's a significant ceiling for Malzahn and his offense, and like honestly, if I was FSU, I would have fired Norvell and tried to get Dillingham. Like that would have probably where I went more than anything else. But I don't know if you could get him out of AZ.
And honestly, maybe I'll touch on that for just a second because I agree. Like going into the season, I would have said Dillingham. There's no way he's leaving. But seeing how their season played out, how like their star quarterback's already shopping himself around, like
Which
I
is
think
surprising to me a little bit, but
I know. But I
he's so
suspect.
like he's such a player's coach to me.
Mm-hmm.
he's very real and very honest with them. So it surprises me that and I'm surprised that people didn't go after him. Go on, sorry.
No, yeah, I think we're kind of on the same. I think people did go after him. I think he did get some sort of updated contract with Arizona State, if I remember correctly. But he did shut down a lot of that speculation pretty early. I think he was pretty quick to do that. But all that to say, I think give it a year or two, and he might be open to looking into something else. Like I just, keep an eye on that one. I don't know if he's going to be a forever ASU guy like I thought he would be.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I think you also can't be like. So what other coaching hires you want to talk about real quick?
what other ones did I want to touch on? So Bob Chesney has been like sort of, has he been announced at UCLA?
I think he's been announced to UCLA.
Okay, so that one's just fascinating because again, he's a winner. I don't know. Has he spent any time on the West Coast? I don't know his sort of origins. I just know him at JMU, and then, gosh, now I'm gonna forget what the FCS program came from. He's a winner though.
Holy Cross.
No, that's it. Yeah, he's a winner though.
Yeah.
So fascinating to see what happens there. Like,
it feels very much like a Kalen DeBoer kind of rise. Like you worked at Delaware Valley, Kings, John Hopkins. Like you were at the bottom and you moved your way up. Not in IIA, but like still. Yeah, it's been reported. Multiple sources reported that Cheney's been hired for that coach for UCLA. So
okay, Will Stein at Kentucky is fascinating to me.
Is that gotten announced yet?
Yep, that's official. They tweeted it out. UK, the Kentucky football account tweeted it out. So that one's interesting. Like I think that Kentucky's best years were when they had kind of Liam Cohen, who's the current head coach of the Jaguars, coaching their offense, and so like a unique offense combined with a stingy defense. So I'm interested to see what he can do on the defensive side of the ball there. But that one's one that's like, oh, okay, I'll pay attention to that.
Michigan State goes out and gets Fitzgerald.
Is that official too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which I'm happy for Fitzgerald. I think that's a good fit. And also like, correct me if I'm wrong. Like he got sued, but it came out like he won. Like it was not.
I don't know if that ever got like it's been fully adjudicated, but like I don't think anything was proven. They fired him pretty early on with that, which I think we talked about on this podcast. My buddy who's a Northwestern grad was like they're very sensitive to like scandal and stuff like that. Like I think a tree fell in one of the parks on campus or one of the green spaces, and they wrote an email apologizing to everyone, and here's what we're doing to take steps to ensure this doesn't happen again, and if you need counseling on this, like let us know. They may have jumped the gun, and then they went and hired someone on the staff that had been on the staff that was accused of all the wrongdoing. So it's like, what are we doing here? And he's doing a good job too. But
he filed a wrongful termination suit against Northwestern. And it was settled, but there was reportedly no evidence that supported the claim that Fitzgerald knew about the hazing.
Well, and they even said that, right? They said there was no evidence that he didn't, there was no evidence. I think they said that in their release when they let him go. But yeah, so Pat Fitzgerald's a good coach. I think that maybe is the right kind of person for Michigan State. It's like, how do you differentiate yourself? It's, okay, we're going to be hard-nosed, we're going to be physical, we're going to, develop guys. I think that makes sense. Jonathan Smith just didn't work out, and it's kind of wild to me that didn't work out because I felt like he was the one. That was when I felt like that. I was like, hey, they kind of got a steal here. They were lucky that he was available because in the shifting landscape of college football, he was looking for, a lifeboat.
Coming from Oregon State, right?
Yeah, and he did great at Oregon State. Like I'm telling you, we'll look back in 3 or 4 more years and be like, man, look at what Oregon State had on that roster. Like, what he developed.
We've gone through that.
it's nuts. But so that one didn't work. I am interested to see how Pat Fitzgerald does there. What was the other one that I wanted to touch on for just a second? That's now escaping me. Oh, Ryan Silverfield to Arkansas.
Yeah, and the fans are not happy about it.
And I think they're right. Like, I don't know. That one just doesn't inspire a whole lot of confidence.
I mean, he doesn't feel like he had one good year at Memphis, but like everything was like kind of average. And you got handed a pretty decent Memphis team when Norvell left.
Yeah, and he also has a mega booster there. Like,
so
the Blank family, the FedEx family.
Yeah.
Like you've got a pretty significant advantage over most of the people you're playing against. and you're going now to Arkansas where you do not have that. Like, I mean, theoretically you could get it with Walmart and Tyson Foods, but like all of that is currently going into basketball. So
Yeah.
maybe he's able to shake those dollars loose, but he doesn't see me as like the kind of guy that like, oh, he's gonna do awesome in like, you know, in the donor
Yeah.
meetings. Like, and
Are
maybe
we
I'm wrong about
surprised that
that.
Bobby Petrino didn't get the job?
I mean, a little. How old is he now?
What is he, 64? I think
Well, he looks
potentially the
so
way that,
much older than that. Those
yeah, I
motorcycle
think honestly,
crashes, they'll age you. Sorry, keep going.
I do feel like he played himself out of a job, or potentially. Like, they didn't feel significantly better
If they'd have
when,
got, well, I mean, they were. I feel like they were more competitive, but they just couldn't
yes,
get over the hump. Like there was 2 or 3 times where it's like, man, if they could, you know, one possession here or you know another score there, I felt like there was chances for them to do a little bit better, and they just never quite
yeah, you had like a
got it
close game
done.
in, let's see, I'm pull it up. I think you had close games against Texas Tech or Texas A&M. Let's see, you lost to Texas A&M by 3, you lost to Tennessee by 3, you lost to Auburn by 9, you lost to Mississippi State by 3, you lost to LSU by 1, you lost, like, there's a lot of opportunities that they just couldn't close the door. I mean, they didn't win a single game after they fired the coach.
Yeah, give him
You went
2 of those or 3 of those, and it maybe is a different story.
perhaps, yeah, I agree, but couldn't figure it out. Anybody else you want to talk about? You want to talk about who Ole Miss
Kalani,
goes after and Penn State and
didn't Ole
yeah,
Miss already take Golding? Yeah, which to me, like, I mean, for the other teams that are in the
there's
playoff
nothing
that are
major. Yeah,
outside of coach, like I think again we'll touch on Kalani in just a second, but like, um, yeah, like for those it just kind of makes sense. Like steady the ship. Like, hey, we got the guy for now. Even then, I probably would just name him as an interim. And just be like, hey, he's an interim. He's on a 6-month contract or something like that.
you talking about Golding?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know. Like him being the head man, like that doesn't wow me. Like,
I agree. I feel like it was oh man, we lost out. Okay, this will do. It
well,
doesn't
yeah,
feel like
it's more like, hey, well, yeah, to me, it's like plugging a hole in the boat. All right, like we're taking on water. Here's the quick
yeah,
plug, but it's not
yeah.
like, you know, yeah, it's more a preventive thing than it is something that where it's like, okay, this person's gonna go out and build.
I wonder how much talks they were in with any other coaches during these Lane Kiffin
Yeah,
succession.
maybe they were
Like,
just
listen,
so
if we don't get,
confident that they got him that they were gonna
yeah,
get him that they didn't put.
and because like I think you would have said Summerall, Chesney. I think Chesney would have been a consideration. I think I'd go to, if I were Chesney, I'd rather go to Ole Miss than UCLA. But I
Yeah,
mean,
I don't know of any like personal. Yeah, again, I don't know his background, like where he spent time, but
yeah,
where he
I'm looking
grew
that up
up
real
or
quick.
any of that. Just curious,
Yeah,
um, but I agree.
he's born and raised in. I don't have anything. Oh, Pennsylvania. He's from Pennsylvania. So
Northeast. Okay, that's what I
yeah,
thought.
why wouldn't you go get him if you're Penn State?
I don't know. Maybe you told him no. I'm not sure. Should we
Yeah,
get into Kalani Sitake and Penn
let's get
State?
into Penn State and yeah.
Okay. So let's timestamp it first again. Reminders. This is almost 1 a.m. 12, 12 to 1 a.m. Eastern time. So as of right now, I think he's the primary target, but nothing official has come through for Penn State. But yeah, it seems like Penn State has, from the outside looking in, floundered a little bit during this coaching cycle.
It feels like you fired Franklin, but you didn't have a plan, and that, like, you didn't have a good game plan. You didn't have, like, you thought you were going to be able to go get somebody, and you couldn't go get anyone, or you weren't willing to pay up to go get somebody, and like that's an issue. Now it feels like a little bit like if you couldn't get anybody or you weren't willing to pay up to get anybody, now you're willing to do it just to go save face to get Kalani. Like, hey, at least we've got a playoff team, coach. We can kind of say it's like, hey, but like Kalani's built a culture at BYU that is very BYU esque. I do wonder how that translates over there. Now,
Yes.
with the history of Penn State, I think like if he does go, they will love him as if he performs well because he will build a culture that feels kind of Joe Pa-ish before all the scandal.
Yeah, I was going to say with one noted exception, I
Yeah,
would imagine just having known lots of people that know Kalani, I don't think they're going to, like, Penn State's going to be able to be proud of the product they put on the field, but almost certainly the product that they're putting anything that
Yeah,
takes place off the field.
100%. And I mean, to his credit, he's made great hires and put those coordinators in positions to be successful. Jay Hill and Aaron Roddick.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder how much the allegiance is there sometimes. Like, if did he fortunately get into good hires, or did he?
It was sort of, his arm was twisted in terms of, like, I guess and
Yeah,
even then, I don't know if you've like seen, there was a clip of Elisa Tuiaki, who's a good friend of his, who was his former defensive coordinator, who ends up walking away. But like, Kalani refused to get rid of him, and it wasn't working, right? Like
yeah,
to say that kindly, right? Like, and Elisa Tuiaki basically, it sounds like his personal life was really challenging at the time, and so it was really difficult. Things weren't going, I'm glad that some of those situations that he was in have sort of resolved themselves. Some of the people that he had that had health concerns, some of those situations seemed to be better, but it just wasn't working. And Kalani wasn't willing to say, hey, you know what? This is a results-oriented business. The results that we're having on the defensive side of the ball aren't
yeah.
working.
And that
He
that
walked
was
away. Now, to his credit, he did replace him with an excellent choice, right?
no, he did. And I'm thinking about Jeff Grimes. Why did Grimes leave?
I think he just left to be the head or the offensive coordinator at Wisconsin, kind of seemingly a step up.
He left to Baylor.
Oh, did he leave for Baylor? Okay, this is
Oh
with
no,
his
wait.
pre-Big 12.
Okay, wait, I'm pulling
Yeah,
this up.
he was at Wisconsin this last year, huh? I'm gonna get
Yeah, so
Jeff Grimes mixed up.
Grimes
So
was
Baylor would have been to a Power Four, offense coordinator position when you were independent. So that to me is not like he ran him off. But even then, toward the end, I think that there there were rumors, at least, that sort of the play calling duties had kind of been handed over to Aaron Roderick, who was on that
yeah,
staff
I
still.
do recall that. There were some
So
issues there. So maybe he made the right call in that sense. I was just wondering if he was.
yeah, and then the other one that he's had to turn over was before he brought in Grimes, he had Ty Detmer on his, I think, his first staff or his second staff.
Yeah, it's on his
Um,
first, I think.
and he
It took a little time, but he got there eventually.
so he dismissed him, I think, after one or two seasons, and I kind of felt bad for Ty Detmer. Again, he may or may not have been over his head in terms of, like, it was his first collegiate coaching job. I know he coached in high school quite a bit, but
Yeah,
but he also, like, was down to his fourth string quarterback that year, so I don't know if he got like a super fair shake. And, like, hey, this is what the offense can be when we have a capable person back there running it.
yeah.
But all that to say,
And
yeah,
then
it took some time with Kalani to get things in place. So, like, is Penn State going to be patient enough? Maybe. I mean, they were patient enough with James Franklin at the end to see if he could get over the hump. But he also resurrected that program. He got rolling, I think, pretty
yeah,
quick. So
I, I,
we'll see.
looking back, I feel like it might have been the wrong call, but
James
um,
Franklin,
you firing James
or
Franklin.
yeah,
But
with hindsight, I can see
hindsight, yeah.
that. I can also say, like, you know what, we know what we're getting with this one. Let's roll the dice and see if we can get something better,
Yeah,
right?
you said that, but I'm like, at some point in time, I feel like he could have broken the ceiling. I feel like there was a shot
Maybe.
there. But yeah. What do you think about Kalani? Do you think they take him? Do you think
Yeah.
Kalani? I feel like this.
So
I'll be honest. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, tell me your thoughts.
okay, I'll go, and I feel like I've said this to a couple of different people who've asked me, like, hey, what do you think? Like, Penn State fans, again, I think you will like him. Like, I think you'll like him. I think he's an awesome man and all that. I think for him to be successful at Penn State, he's going to have to incorporate some people that have recruited the Northeast, and
Yep.
so that'll be important. Um, I think he'll get some players from the West Coast. To me, I would think, putting myself in his shoes, if one of the premier jobs on the West Coast opened, that would be more tempting to me than Penn State, right? If an Oregon or a Washington or a Southern Cal or even potentially a UCLA, when they mentioned him, I was like, that one might make more sense, just because a lot of his recruiting connections are on the West Coast. He could really establish a Polynesian pipeline um, with one of those. I think, not to say that he won't pull one or two at Penn State if he ends up accepting that position. They already, and one of their starting offensive linemen is Samoan, so you could
Yeah.
do it. But I just think if you were to do it at Southern Cal, it would hit different, right? Like, um, so I say that to say this. I think he probably stays at BYU. This is going to age really well. Like, like milk or like a banana.
Yeah.
But I think he stays, and
I
then
think
it's like
this.
who do they go to? If he does go to Penn State, I am a little concerned that he may not have the success that he or Penn
Yeah.
State fans will want for the reasons I've already sort of stated, right?
Yeah. I
Like
don't
you said,
think.
he's a perfect cultural fit at BYU. I don't know if it perfectly translates to Happy Valley, maybe to a certain degree, but yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
It'd be
I think
interesting.
if he goes, I think Penn State kind of already knowingly knows that they've taken a step down from James Franklin based off who they've been able to get. Like they've been turned down by so many people, and you were first in line, and now you're 25th in line. It feels like that to pick out a coach. And so I think there'd be a fan expectation like, okay, this might not be where we need to go. Let's give it a year or two. But also like I could see them be like, well, we fired this guy to get this. This is not going to happen. And like 3 years max is what they would allow Kalani to function in. And like we said, it took a little time to get what he is at BYU. To me, this feels more than anything like a prod at BYU saying, okay, you invested financially in the basketball team. Now show me the football team. Because we can give you revenues more than the basketball team. And yes, we'll need more money into this, but I mean, we're talking of a team that's average recruiting classes in the last 3 years have been like the 63rd or something like that, and he's won 10 games or 9 games with
And
each
now
one
you
of them.
have one in the top 25. Yeah,
Yeah, and so like
it could really get rolling potentially.
but I do think this is potentially like I could see him being like, hey, listen, they're offering me $70 million over the next 10 years. I'm a BYU guy. I want $40 million, but give me $30 million to invest it within my team every year. Like match that investment, and I want to take it this way. Kalani's just a genuine guy. Everybody who's talked to him knows that he's a genuine person. Like you hear Deion Sanders rave about him. I've had the conversations with him twice, and the second time I had a conversation was 4 or 5 years after the first time, and he remembered the conversation that we had and where he was coming from and what he was doing, which is kind of crazy.
I didn't know that part of it. That's awesome.
Yeah. He was like, "Oh yeah, I was coming back from Orlando when we talked in Atlanta airport." I'm like, "Yeah, exactly." Like this is such a weird thing. But he's just a genuine person, and I think it's a perfect fit for BYU. But I do think this is a test for BYU, and I think it's probably a good test that he's like, "Hey, listen, I'm going to push BYU to get the investments in." And now, if BYU isn't willing to invest, I think he does go. I think he goes because, like, listen, I'm gonna if I get paid $70 million over there or whatever it is,
I've got a golden parachute.
Yeah, I've got like my family is set for forever. Not that your family isn't set pretty well here, but I mean, you have the next level of type of money. But if they can get relatively comfortable and he can get the support he wants here, and they guarantee the investment from a BYU perspective, like, can you imagine BYU pouring money? They would absolutely start to slam the door on Utah.
I think, and from what I'm seeing, like the rallying from the movers and shakers at BYU, I think they are going to really do anything they can to keep him.
Yeah,
so
I hope so. I do feel like the one thing is if I'm BYU, I definitely promote Jay Hill. Like that's what I
that
do.
to me, and again, it is sort of that same sort of where it plugs the hole immediately.
But I also think he's a great coach.
He's a fantastic coach. He does have head coaching experience, which Golding I don't believe did. So there are slightly different.
Was Jay Hill at Utah State?
He was at Weber. He was the head coach at Weber,
That's
but
right.
again was on the defensive staffs with Kalani and Morgan Scalley with under Witt for quite a bit. So,
Do you think?
I agree. I think that one to me is a slightly different situation, and I would be okay with that hire. Right? Maybe not like a crazy long term deal, but like, hey, here's a 4-year deal, pretty favorable contract terms for them, and then just. I would assume that most of it's like, hey, we got a good thing going. Let's try and keep this rolling. Try and keep as much of the staff as we can.
Yeah. Other things that I'm hearing, or not hearing, but like thinking about, like we haven't heard about Utah stepping down. Utah's coach stepping down. Have we heard anything about Willingham?
Not yet. I think that'll come. I think that'll come after the bowl game, perhaps. But yeah,
will they go after Jay Hill and take Jay Hill unless they keep Kalani and say, hey, we're going to invest money and keep Jay Hill? Like,
so Morgan Scalley is the head coach in waiting at Utah.
Right.
I don't know if you knew that, but you're saying for the defense coordinator position.
DC, yeah. Because
Yeah,
that's
I
what I
think
would do, right? They coach together and they're friends,
that
aren't they?
is yeah, that is my fear as a BYU fan, that that's potentially something you're up against. I think again, you're not losing a bidding war to Utah, I don't believe. Um, but
But is the
it's
church
a
willing to get
concern.
into a bidding war? Because historically they've been not willing to, and
Well, that's the thing.
now
It's
it's
like
a
it's
matter.
not the church, it's the donors, right? Like the church isn't footing that bill. But
Yeah, it's the donors, but it's also, and I'm not saying the church, but like I'm saying BYU from a perspective, like BYU has never been hurting from a financial perspective, from a athletics perspective. Like they've generated enough income to be successful and in lots of sports, and they generate enough income. Like you watch this fan base here, they are a rabid fan base as much as a Southeastern Conference. Now they don't get the alcohol sales, but they get the cougar tail sales, and that's a different story. You know how Mormons love their sugar. Um, like I feel like it's been a a decision from the top to be conservative, and I think you can do good from not being conservative by putting yourself out there. Look at Notre Dame. Like they're like, hey, listen, we're going to put ourselves out there and we're going to make you respect us. And I think BYU could do that level if they wanted to. They just need to decide that that's what they want to do. And you need to make a mental shift. And it appears that you might have made it when you started going crazy with the BYU, with the basketball team. Now, are you going to make that next mental shift with this team as well?
yeah, I mean, again, I think that the donors have the appetite for it. I really do think like Kalani's going to get everything he wants, so really everything he could ask for from BYU. And maybe I'm wrong on that, but I think if he does move, it's because he's pursuing a national title, and maybe BYU is not in a position where they can do that, right? Like there's some uniqueness about that job, which we discussed at length. So. Yeah, I guess kind of my final stamp that I'll put on that is like, if he leaves, hate to see him go. I'll be a Kalani fan, you know.
Yep.
So cheer him on at Penn State. I do think there is maybe a higher variance in what he would do at Penn State versus one of the sort of the premier jobs on the West Coast. Like if he was at Washington or at Oregon, I'd feel pretty good about what he could do there.
Mm-hmm.
And Penn State, the only real concern for me is like, okay, it's a different recruiting landscape. How is he going to adapt to that? Can he also tailor his program to be a little bit more, his is very faith oriented right now. Like I'm not saying you have to go completely away from that, but like make it maybe a little bit more accessible to a broader group of young men. And so,
Yeah.
those would be my concerns. But yeah, I think Penn State would probably be excited at least in the first 6 months. I don't know exactly how it would work out, but again, off the field, you'd have a program that you could be proud of for sure. And I think on the field, you probably get there. I feel pretty confident. He's a pretty good coach, but you got to be
So
patient. You got to stick with the process.
who do you think ends up there? Do you think Kalani
At Penn
goes?
State,
I,
right now,
I'll
as
tell
of
you,
this moment,
go on. Kalshi or the whatever the predictor sports betting contracts. Have you ever seen the future betting contracts that you can do?
I mean, I've heard of it.
So up until five 5 o'clock or 4:30, Kalani was the top, and now Jeff Brom has become the most likely to pick up
Interesting.
Penn State, and Brian Hartline is moving in, which I think is a great hire. I mean, where you've had struggles is your wide receivers at Penn State. Go get the
Well,
best wide receiver coach
yeah,
in the
good.
world and see what happens.
Hey, I don't hate it. Like it makes some sense. That's interesting. So they've pivoted away. So that's yeah. Because I was
It's
gonna
not
say
super favorable.
I
Like,
think Kalani stays at BYU is what I was gonna say. I don't know if I ever end up quite getting that
yeah,
out. I think he stays, but who knows?
Jeff Brom is listed at 26% likely. Kalani's at 18. Oh, now it just went up to 19%. And Brian Hartline is 13. Oh, Kalani's going up significantly. All of a sudden went up to 21. Wonder if there's some information that's changing
Yeah.
right now.
Should we check Twitter real quick?
Yeah,
We'll
I don't
do
know.
that. Anyway, so yeah, maybe there's something that they know that we don't. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Um, was there any other coaching stuff that you wanted to touch on?
Nah, dude, it's been fun. It'll be interesting if there are any other dominoes, because what we did see was dominoes after the playoffs last year,
Mm-hmm.
and those teams that were left holding, or 2 years ago, and those teams that were left holding the bag
Well,
had a hard
and
time.
is there anything from the NFL that maybe
Yeah,
poaches one of the top ones that and sort of sets off another chain reaction down
yeah.
in the college football ranks? there's been whispers that apparently Lincoln Riley or maybe Steven Sarkisian are both potentially looking at the next level. So I don't know if I buy those, but we'll see. Cool, man. It's 1:00 here. I'm gonna sign us off. All right. Thanks everyone for listening. We will catch you on the next episode where we probably preview. I guess we'll probably break down CFP, the bracket, championship week, preview that first round of playoffs, we should talk about some bowls.
Yeah, and how we did with win totals.
Yes, we'll be accountable to that too. Win totals, and then transfer portal if there's notable people in that. Maybe we'll touch on that a little bit too. A lot. This is the busy season of college football nowadays, so good stuff.
Awesome.
All right. Well, thanks. We'll see you next time. Yep.
Love you, Mom.